what I'm doing, unfortunately, is threatening people. I don't know why, but it's threatening people. And I'm not going to go into details on it, but it's threatening people. So as you face, the occupier faces, especially like what's happening, it seems like the West Coast going crazy. San Francisco, no, it was San Diego, Oakland, Phoenix. It's been a lot of sort of combativeness between the occupiers and the authority, and I'm thinking because they've overstayed their permit. Well, if that's the MO, you know, there's a certain amount of risk that you take. Me, there's a certain amount of risk that I take going out doing, you know, multi-hour, multi-part lecture series on Occupy, right? Because not everybody wants me to get this information out because it's threatening somehow, right? Well, you know, I look at it as a whiteboard and a marker, but you know, it is what it is. So the relationship between the stranger and the crowd is one of mutual dependence, and I've talked about that, right? Your participation should benefit the movement. That's extremely important. Your participation in Occupy should benefit Occupy. You shouldn't be out at Occupy because, and I hate to say this, and I don't mean this in a malicious way at all, and because I actually purchased the Livestrong armband, the yellow sort of plastic armband, because, you know, people in my family died of cancer. And, you know, cancer research is extremely important. I understood the whole point of wearing the armband. But there comes a point at which I taught high school for a little bit, high school biology. There came a point at which everybody was wearing an armband, especially the young kids. All of them were wearing yellow Livestrong armbands. And you'd ask them, like, dude, what's up with that armband? Why are you wearing it? I don't know, it's just cool. Like, wow. You don't want the occupation movement to become that, right? You don't want the occupation movement to become the thing that just, it's cool to do. Let's go get a V for Vendetta mask, right? We're going to say rage against corporations, yet, you know, whoever manufactures the V for Vendetta mask, they're super paid off of this. They're making tons of money off of this. Security firms are making tons of money off of this. The Occupy movement is benefiting a lot of people financially. It's not, you know, it's not a fad. People go out to Occupy and get arrested. A couple thousand people went out to Occupy and got arrested. People go out to Occupy and get their heads split. People go out to Occupy and almost get killed. Right? People go to Occupy. It's not, you know, it's not your, as Al Pacino says in one of my favorite movies of all time, The Devil's Advocate. It's not your average night at the Lomaxes, right? It's not the average night at the Lomax, right? You got to know what you're getting into, and as you get into it, gradually assess how deep you are willing to go. But at all times, you should be making a meaningful contribution to the movement. And again, I'm going to use this moment right here to just plug again, lawyers, where the hell are you? Lawyers, are you sleeping? Lawyers, are you scared? Lawyers, what's going on? Are you watching the same videos as me, lawyers? Lawyers, when history is told, if you don't get off your butt and start defending some of these people, we're gonna chastise the entire discipline of law until lawyers start popping up. Because I haven't heard anything in the news about any lawyers doing anything, right? Which is not to say that there aren't lawyers doing things, but lawyers need to get to work, right? And that's a contribution I think that the Occupy movement really desperately needs right now. Okay, so one, what can you do? What are you doing for the Occupy movement? Are you occupying public spaces? Are you organizing for the movement? Are you raising awareness? Are you recruiting for Occupy? Are you donating your skills or your money to support the movement? What are you doing, right? What is it uniquely that you can contribute? Or if you want to be, if you're more comfortable, and it's also not to say that people who are part of the sort of the group, the herd sounds a little sort of caustic, but the group, right, that is Occupy, it's not to say that they're weaker or they're less, right? You need that, right? You need that. I enjoy watching that when I go to Occupy. The whole point of my participation in Occupy is to witness the phenomenon, right? To witness the mic check, to witness the various protest signs, to witness the rallying and people talking together. It is really about being man on the scene, witnessing that. But what can you do, right? And the last bit before we end this section, you should use the movement as an opportunity to define your social identity. You use your participation as an opportunity to hone your skills that make you you. The idea of defining your social identity is not in defining your social identity, at least other people might disagree with me, I don't mean defining your social identity by trying to assimilate. I'm an occupier, and this is my new thing. All my Facebook posts are going to be about Occupy. Everything I do is about Occupy. I'm going to do the mic check. I'm going to have the biggest poster. That's fine. That's fine. However, prior to Occupy entering the social nexus, there was an individual, you. And you, that individual, prior to knowing anything about Occupy, had a certain skill set. How can you take the things that you were best at prior to even your recognition of Occupy, how can you bring that to Occupy, right? Rather than coming to Occupy and conforming and just being swallowed whole by the whole movement, prior to your understanding, your introduction to the movement, what were the things that you were best at, and how can you bring those things to Occupy, right? So that you sort of formulate, you synthesize, you bring a more holistic reality to the movement by presenting yourself to the movement. Occupy, hi, I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell, and I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. Here's my series and my contribution in what I was doing before Occupy. Now I'm part of Occupy. Guess what I'm doing? Exactly the same thing. I haven't been absorbed by Occupy. I've absorbed Occupy, right? I haven't become this fanatical Occupy guy, got video. There's no video of me doing mic checks. There's no video of me holding placards, right? There's no pictures of me doing that. I'm just videotaping what I do all day. I was doing this before Occupy, I'll do this after Occupy. So I haven't lost myself in Occupy. I've absorbed Occupy into what it is that I do best. And I've made it what I do best. And that's what you need to be doing, right? And this goes back to what I said a few videos before, that insofar as there's an opening in the social nexus, and there's a status quo, there's a structure that's currently occupying that opening, the Occupy movement is saying, hey, we want that spot. Remember, I did this lecture already, and they're saying, no, you can't have that spot, right? As I said before, in my last discussion, someone asked me, again, and I'll be brief because I already said this, Dr. Campbell, how is it that the Occupy movement can compete with the financial institution? It's two totally different institutions. The point is, the Occupy movement is an abstraction. We're not quite at ideology yet, right? The Occupy movement is an abstraction. If it rises, and when it rises to the level of a bold-faced, bona fide ideological sort of conceptual structure, or superstructure for that matter, and I'll explain all of this later, then I leave Occupy and I come back to academia, to the ivory tower, and what do you think I'm doing? What I'm doing right now. You're an engineer. As a matter of fact, I have a video of a guy who said, hi, he does the mic check, hey, I'm an engineer, I make a lot of money, but here's what I'm doing, right? You take the ideas from the movement and your experience, your lived phenomenological, your lived experiences from the movement, and you go back to your respective social spheres, you go back to the government, you go back to business, you go back to banking, you go back to education, you go back to child care, you go back to whatever, business community, business sector, and you transform slowly each of those paradigms as more and more people occupy those social spheres, right? As more and more of those people occupy the social spheres, right? So you go to Occupy as like a boot camp. Your participation in Occupy is your training. It's all of the conceptual understanding. It's the sense of community, the sense of recognition of the other, of myself, of my relationship to the other, of shared struggles. I remember those, and I take those experiences and that understanding back to my social spheres. That other person takes that relationship, that understanding, that experience back to his or her social sphere, and we start to transform society because of our community that we've created. And when it starts to wane, I just go back and get a refill. Right? I just go back and get a refill. Weekend, hey, I'm gonna be at Occupy X. I'm gonna be at Occupy Y. I can't make it. Dr. Campbell's got a video. I'm gonna get a refill. Now I get it. Let me go back to my social sphere and tell more people, and that's how you infiltrate the structure. So for that reason, I see why people are a little PO'd at what I'm doing, because I'm basically telling you how to do it, right? I'm not encouraging you to do it, but I'm telling you how to do it, right? This is how it's done. And to be honest with you, it's not even me telling you how to do it. It's all in the book. This book is on social theory. Right? It's on social revolutions. It's on movements. It's on social movements. It's on social transformation. It's on the individual's responsibility. If you're the 99%, the responsibility that you have to make sure that you don't conform to Occupy, that you absorb Occupy. That's the point. So with that, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell. Have a good day.